Welcome to Hobnob Creations, where crafty meets creativity. Our doll today is inspired by flowers, as you may have been able to gather from the set. It's a magical plant doll collab with other doll creators over on Instagram, so go and check them out. I took a walk to inspire me while I was deciding what plant I wanted to use for the theme, and to get me out of the house.
See, I know that there were some more lilies around here somewhere. I'm just trying to remember where they were. There it is. That was what I was looking for. I love this color.
There are many beautiful options in my neighborhood, and finally I settled on a rose. My idea was to make a medieval-inspired rose thorn princess with armor and to make her skirt the huge petals and the main design. Sort of like a Joan of Arc with flowers, I guess. Now that we have our concept, it's time to find our doll base, or bases in this case. If you remember the apple white base I originally tried to use for my Mini-Me doll, you'll know that the neck got a little broken during the process. I don't want the doll to just go to waste, and this comes in perfectly with the Snow White head I'd like to use. She really is a lovely sculpted doll, but the limbs don't move very much, and I'm excited to try some doll surgery. Let's begin. Okay, that's enough of that. Halloween isn't for another month. The neck swap was actually very simple. I marked the bodies on both dolls to make sure I didn't interfere with the arm movement on either one, and got my jeweler's saw to work. To reattach the head, I did some careful spots of epoxy, glue, and finally a super glue and baking soda mix to form a strong attachment. Because of all of the work to make the head swap in the first place, I'm leaving Snow's original hair in place. And now that she's all together, we can move on to the final modifications. Longer ears, with an embedded wire into the head, and a little bit more Apoxie Sculpt. Once that dries, some gentle sanding, some acetone, and she's ready to start on the face-up. The expression I had initially thought of transformed from stern to more of an excited look. Now it's time for the outfit. I'm going for the fully ready for adventure look, so I made a black jumpsuit base, a one-sleeved puffy shirt, and got started on the underskirt. I ended up making another underskirt, but that's coming later on. What I was really excited for was the armor. Using craft foam, I started to play around with shaping and forming the chest plate. My first attempt was unsuccessful, and here's some totally random advice. Be very careful when trying to cool foam as to not burn your fingers. Don't do this. It is not fun. I went back to the basics with my doll assistant Goldie to give myself a better idea for what shape I needed. After playing around with wires for a day and a half, I was more frustrated and felt like I needed to move on and circle back to the armor. So, boots. Using the papier-mâché method, I made casts for the feet. When those dried, I used toothpicks as the heel portion before adding air dry clay and craft foam to form the rest of the shape. I'm still really new to making doll shoes, so I decided to use fabric to cover the base with some careful folding to make the shoes look like leather boots. A little bit of dry brushing to weather them and hide the white base, and they're done. Now that I feel I've made progress, it's round 2 for the armor. This time I'm working with a soda can as my material. This should be a more authentic look with the metal, and I'm confident I can make this work. After a whole day wasted, I made a plan to cobble together something off camera with a mixture of wire and foam. With wires forming the curves and a lot of hot glue, I managed to get the shape I wanted for the armor. I also shaped the arm guards and used fabric glue to give the raised details. Once that was done, I primed and painted all the armor. I'm still hoping to one day make a more authentic-ish armor set one day, but for now, this is the best I can do, and honestly, I'm very happy with it. Now, she is royalty after all, so it's time to find my box of random things and add a few sparklies. While that's going on, we're going to get the biggest part of this outfit started, the skirt. The roses for this were just ones I picked up from the dollar store on a rare outing, and I painted the petals to get the color variation I wanted. Once all of those were dry, I stitched the petals on in alternating patterns and made sure to overlap them as I went. As a final touch, I used the leaves that came with the flowers around her belt to fill out the space under her breastplate and to finalize the rose look. And finally, the sword, which I made totally off camera with wire, air dry clay, foam, and lots of hot glue. Time to style the hair. Seeing the face and hair together is so satisfying. I cannot believe how much I love the dark hair against her ears. I realized I didn't want to overthink the hairstyle, so I pulled back the top portion into a half-up look, and then set a few strands into straws to curl overnight. Freeing those in the morning, I did a quick trim and call it done. This doll is maybe my favorite creation so far. She really feels like the first full character I've made. Tapping into the flower inspiration really made me happy. I hope you enjoyed the video. We're getting into the chillier part of the year, which is some of my favorite months. Our next doll is going to be part of a Halloween collab, but I've got a few clothing videos on the way. Stay safe, and I'll see you again soon!